Hi everyone, it's me Skelton with another vlog chat for you. We're talking about another controversial subject. Ooh, it's brown eyes versus blue eyes. Now I know there's, of course, green eyes and other colors too, but the main competitors are brown versus blue. Now if you do a poll of most people will say that brown eyes are boring and the color of poop and everybody loves blue eyes. But I think blue eyes are beautiful and striking, but I have a preference for brown eyes, and there's a few reasons why. But this is an article here that actually says brown eyes are more trustworthy. So this says in a study published today in PLOS One, researchers from the Charles University of Czech Republic had 238 participants rate the faces of 80 students for trustworthiness, attractiveness, and dominance. Not surprisingly, they found that the three measures correlated well with each other. So faces with rating high on the scale rated high on the other two as well. So female faces were generally more trustworthy than male ones. No surprise there, but that wasn't all. A much more peculiar correlation was discovered as they looked at the data. Brown-eyed faces were deemed more trustworthy than blue-eyed ones. Now, it didn't matter if the judge was male or female, had blue eyes or brown eyes. Even accounting for attractiveness and dominance, the result was the same. Brown-eyed people's faces were rated more trustworthy. There was some evidence of it in group bias, but with blue-eyed female faces receiving lower ratings from brown-eyed women than from blue or green-eyed ones, but the difference didn't drive the phenomenon. All the participants, no matter what eye color or how good-looking they thought they face was, agreed that brown-eyed people just appear to look more reliable. And the question is why? So they're saying it's cultural bias, but what they did is brown-eyed individuals tend to be more trustworthy, but it's not the brown eyes that cause the perception, it's the facial morphology linked to brown eyes. So brown-eyed men on average have bigger mouths, broader chins, bigger noses, and more prominent eyebrows positioned closer together, while their blue-eyed brethren are characterized more angular, prominent lower faces, longer chins, narrower mouths, and downward pointing corners, smaller eyes, and more distant eyebrows. The difference associated with trustworthiness are also how our faces naturally express happiness. An upturned mouth, for example, which may explain why we trust people who innately have these traits. Although the trend was the same for female ones, researchers didn't find the same correlation as trustworthiness. So basically, and then they go into some evolutionary mumbo-jumbo, but what they're saying is that brown-eyed people tend to have a certain phenotype that correlates with eyes, and I guess that's true. I noticed that I've seen blue-eyed people, especially blondes, and I noticed that their eyes go up like that, but also they have very gummy smiles. Have you ever noticed people with blue-eyed blonde hair have very gummy, you see a lot of gum up there? And it has to do probably with the Nordic influence. But let's just take a look at some of the things associated with brown eyes versus blue eyes. I want to show you all a picture, and you can agree to disagree. But here's a picture of these two very attractive females. Now, one has brown eyes, one has blue eyes. Now, I ask you, which one do you trust more? Now, the girl with blue eyes, I have to admit, her eyes are incredibly striking. But would you trust her? I don't know. She looks like she might poison your soup. While the girl with the brown eyes, her eyes are so warm, so friendly, so inviting that you have to say, well, the brown eyes are more appealing in that sense. And so, you could look at different things. So here's a fellow with blue eyes. It could be the expression, but he doesn't look like the friendliest person in the world. These kind of blue eyes, these ice blue, it almost looks psychopathic to me. And no offense to anyone with this color, but it just looks like they're dead, like the eyes are dead, like there's no life in them. There's like, well, it could be again, it's the expression, but if you gave him brown eyes, I think you'd get a different vibe from it. Blue eyes are just cold. They're kind of very austere, but they're beautiful. So here's another girl with blue eyes. I tell you, she's beautiful. The eyes are very striking, but I'm not getting that warmth. I'm not getting that warmth. So are brown eyes really ugly and the color of poop? Well, let's look at the different types of brown eyes we have, because you can see that there's a lot of different shades of brown. There's almost a greenish gold brown. There's hazel. There's amber. There's chestnut. There's cocoa. There's dark brown. So all those different shades of brown, there's a lot of different kinds of brown eyes. And everyone says their eyes of color of poop. But hey, blue eyes are the color of antifreeze, and brown eyes are the color of coffee and mahogany wood. Don't people love a brown wood floor? Nobody wants a blue floor, do they? Never heard of anyone wanting a blue floor. So, brown, beautiful brown, mahogany wood, amber, gold, all those things are part of brown eyes. Now, blue eyes do run in my family. Both my grandfathers had blue eyes, and I have a sister, older sister with blue eyes. But really, I guess, I don't know, it's a preference for me. I think brown eyes are warmer. I think they're more attractive in general. So here's another girl with blue eyes. Does that look like poop to you? I ask you, do her eyes remind you of poop? Or do they remind you of beautiful, deep, wood, amber, grain, floor, a cup of coffee, and inviting on a fall day, the leaves of fall, the amber, gold, brown, waves of grain. The brown eyes are very expressive in many ways. They don't remind me of poop. I just don't understand why that's the first thing people go to. Now here's another girl with blue eyes. And yes, they're pretty, they're striking, but they're so cold. And if you polled, if you polled a whole bunch of people, this is the eyes that people want, because they think they're beautiful. They think brown eyes are ugly. They think brown eyes are plain. They think they're boring. But look at these blue eyes. Would you trust her, with your life? I don't know. I just don't think blue eyes are very trustworthy. But they are pretty. Here's the different shades of blue. Well, those are some brown and blue, but there's other shades of blue too. Let's see. So in general, you got your baby blues, your cornflower blues, your electric blues, your gunmetal blues, ice blue, sapphire, sky blue. Now I have to admit, if someone had electric blue or cornflower blue eyes, those look a little friendlier. But the ice blue and the baby blue, they just look like they're gonna kill you. So I know that everybody loves these blue eyes. So here's a picture of my eyes. And so see how dark, so my eyes look really dark under, when there's not a lot of light. You can see that my eyes are actually, light brown. So those are my eyes right there. They're actually a light brown color. Sometimes they can look greenish brown. They've gone to greenish brown too. Now, years ago, there was a woman, she's a nutcase, by the way, and she did this experiment with blue-eyed versus brown-eyed children. And what she did was she had a group of blue-eyed children, and she had them be the inferior ones, and the brown-eyed children be the superior ones, teach them about racism and oh golly, what a dumb thing! That is just psychologically damaging to children. And anyway, she had this done in the 70s, before I was born even. And all it did was, cause people to hate brown-eyed people even more, as if we needed that. But that did nothing to at all. That was just a ridiculous thing. Now, my sister, who had blue eyes, they did that to her, and that was damaging. I don't think blue-eyed people are bad people. I think that many wonderful blue-eyed people. But I do think that brown eyes, to me, are underrated. I know everyone says they're more common, and that might be true worldwide, but in Europe, they're not as common. In fact, blue eyes are more common in Germany. Now, a lot of folks say, well, you can't be German if you have brown eyes, but that's not true. There's a lot of Germans who have brown eyes, especially in southern Germany. They have brown eyes like me. There are more blue-eyed people in Germany in general, but there are blue-eyed Germans and blue-eyed, no, brown-eyed Germans and brown-eyed French and brown-eyed Irish. But the prevalence for blue eyes is higher in Northwest Europeans and some Eastern Europeans as well. I just wanted to point out that I just think that brown eyes are, in general, I just think brown eyes are warmer. Here's one more picture. Um, I don't have a side-by-side comparison, but so look at this girl here. She has beautiful, beautiful blue eyes, but they just look cold, so cold and dead, to me. Versus this girl. Look how warm and friendly those eyes are. Sweet. So it's just, I guess it's a preference people have, and most people will not change their minds. But if we're looking at just different eye colors in general, there's a brown eye, and then compare it to these blue eyes here. Now I have to admit the blue eyes are very intriguing, very striking, but brown eyes can be very striking too. I think it really has to do with the eye shape. The eye shape is important, and the brow above it. That does make a difference. I've seen some people with blue eyes and they got bug eyes, bug eyes. And of course, some people of certain persuasions have pop-out eyes. But anyway, folks, that's just my argument about brown eye versus blue eyes. What do y'all think? Let me know in the in the comments section what you think about brown versus blue eyes. I know it's sort of a controversial subject, but a lot of people say they prefer blue eyes. They think brown eyes are ugly and plain and boring, but when you look at them, in comparison, you kind of see that brown eyes have certain qualities that blue eyes lack, and blue eyes have certain qualities that brown eyes lack. So both of them have certain qualities that are better than the other, and vice versa. I think it's really hard to say which one is better, and which one, but it all comes down to preference. So thank y'all for watching, folks. Go to my website at meetskeltonsplace.com. Remember, folks, say a prayer for someone special today. Bye.